My name is Greg Kirkham, and this is Marketing and Beyond. Today we're visiting with Joel Cox from Strategus, all the way from Denver, Colorado. Joel, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Joel, what's changed for your company over the past 2 years?
I think I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the effect that COVID has had on the world, the universe as a whole, but certainly that affected Strategus as it did every other company and every other person. We attempted to roll with those punches, though. We've embraced a fully remote workforce such that when identifying and recruiting top talent, we don't let geography be a barrier as it had been in the past. The type of business that we do is sophisticated and complex, but also very nascent. And so finding very qualified candidates was a challenge pre-COVID. Not that it's any easier today, but at least we've removed the geographical constraints from that. It's also important to point out that what Strategus does and what we specialize in is the monetization and the strategic ad placement into streaming video. So when you think about all of the apps that we use to watch episodes and movies and live sports and news, sometimes we as consumers may see an ad that seems to us to be almost too relevant. We're the firm that pioneered that entire experience. And so when we consider the effects of COVID and stay at home and work from home and essentially do everything from home, that put nearly every American within an arm's reach of a streaming device. And so what proved to be an incredibly tragic event in human history also proceeded to push forward our industry in a lot of the adoption and usage of streaming. So those are probably two of the most notable elements of the last 2 years that we've attempted to embrace.
Yeah, it's crazy how innovative businesses had to become in order to be able to stay relevant and be able to really stay active during COVID, right?
Absolutely.
So, Joel, what is one thing that you would say marketers overlook or forget the most?
I think, pardon me for my soapbox moment, but I think that marketers today aren't upholding their end of the bargain and of the value proposition with consumers. And by that, I mean specifically within our vertical of streaming video, there's been a very clear exchange of value in that consumers are willing to see advertising and dedicate, therefore, some of their time, whether it be before and during episodes of shows or before and during online video or in the breaks of content that they're reading or playing games on their phone. The understanding and the value proposition there is that consumers get this content at free or reduced price, and we as marketers then get a portion of their attention with which to serve them a message or an advertisement. And I think that marketers today are overlooking the responsibility that we have to provide consumers a quality and a relevant and a thoughtful ad experience. So I think in the streaming world, we as consumers have all experienced the frustration of seeing the same ad on the same app back to back to back. We've all experienced seeing an ad that is completely distasteful and irrelevant to our personal needs, affinities, interests, or likely behaviors. And I think that needs to change. Consumers have done everything they can in the last several years to run from advertising. If we think about subscription-based streaming platforms like Netflix and Disney Plus and streaming audio platforms like Pandora and Spotify and even paywall news sources, we can see that consumers have really opted with their wallets to demonstrate that they would rather pay kind of a lot of money every month to not be exposed to advertising. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that we as marketers have disregarded, forgotten about, or forsaken the responsibility that we have to respect our audiences and our users' time, and to ensure that if we are going to be serving them advertising and messages, that we do so in a thoughtful way. And by that, I mean specifically managing frequency, utilizing data to ensure that the message that we're serving to a particular household is relevant. Obviously, utilizing data on the backside of that to understand what's the right number of impressions and what are the desired outcomes. And I think if if we as marketers look at this once again more strategically and more holistically, the ecosystem will be a better place, and maybe consumers will stop running from advertising. And as we've seen, just to close the point on this, Wall Street has really kind of dictated that a subscription-based streaming model in the way of Netflix and formerly Disney Plus is no longer a sustainable
Yeah.
path forward. So, like it or
Yeah.
not, ads are coming into all these platforms where we as consumers have run from the ads. And so I think that now is just another opportunity for us marketers to be better and more respectful of consumers' time and attention.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Joel, it's been a pleasure being able to visit with you today. If someone's looking for your services, what's the best way to contact you?
You can always use the great Google machine. Check us out at Strategus, STRATEGUS.com. We're obviously active on Twitter and LinkedIn as well.
Join us next time on Daily Ad Brief. Find out more on dailyadbrief.com.